Today we have to start the configuration, and I think you have taken the printout of this material and it is ready with you. See, as a part of configuration, first we have to map the enterprise structure or the organization structure of your client company into SAP. Actually, Roni, I don't have your mail ID. That's why I did not send you. So I will let you know my mail ID, right? Then just to testimonial me, I will send the material today after the class. And one more thing, Satya said that you are looking for simple finance, right? As for HANA simple finance. Okay. So here for learning as for HANA simple finance, first you have to learn FICO. Without learning FICO, you cannot learn as for HANA simple finance. That's why if you want to start your career in SAP, first you have to start with the FICO. Without FICO, it's not at all possible to learn CS for HANA Simple Finance. Okay, thinking that I think you did not send me the mail. Okay, so please send me the mail today after the class. I will send you the material to you. Okay, Roni. And if you have any questions at the end of the class, you can discuss with me. Okay, Roni. Okay. Now, see here, as a part of the configuration, first we have to start with the company. If you see the step number 1.1, company. So what is company? First we have to understand the meaning of company in SAP. So here, see, you take any company. Every company will have some number of departments, some number of plants, and some number of branches, and so on. So these are called organizational units in the company. And one organizational unit is linked with the other organizational unit in some way or the other way. I'm coming. See, here, every company will have some number of organizational units like branches, manufacturing plants, then departments, etc., etc. So these are called organizational units in the company. And one organizational unit is linked with the other organizational unit in some way or the other way. So this relation is called enterprise structure or organizational structure. So this enterprise structure is separate for every module. For FI, a separate enterprise structure is there. For MM, separate enterprise structure is there. SD, PP, HR, like that. For each module, it will have its own enterprise structure. In the real time, the respective functional consultants will create the enterprise structure for the respective modules. A FI consultant will create the FI enterprise structure, and MM consultant will create the MM enterprise structure, CO consultant will create CO enterprise structure, and so on. So here our module is FICO. And in FICO, first we start with FI. So once FI is completed, we start with CO. So the main purpose of FI is, FI means financial accounting. So the main purpose of financial accounting module is to prepare the financial statements, that is profit and loss account and balance sheet. So the main purpose of financial accounting is to prepare the P&L account and balance sheet according to the legal requirements of the country in which we are doing the business. So that is the main purpose of financial accounting component. Now, from the viewpoint of preparing P&L account and balance sheet, you take any company in the world, right? You have at the top, you have the group. One second. So you take any company in the world for the purpose of preparing financial statements. At the top, you have the group. So group means you will have some number of individual companies. So like individual company 1 and individual company 2. It seems that somebody has. Chandrasekhar, can you please mute yourself? Yeah, thank you. So, group means it will have some number of individual companies. For example, individual company 1, individual company 2, individual company 3, individual company 4, and so on. So, a group can have any number of individual companies. So, every individual company may be carrying on business in different geographical areas. Like, for example, individual company 1 is carrying on business in Washington, California, New York. Then, individual company 2 is also carrying on business in Washington, California, New York, New Jersey, Houston, etc., etc. So, this is the general enterprise structure for any company in the world for the purpose of preparing financial statements. It is very important for the purpose of preparing financial statements only. Now, if you translate this general enterprise structure into real time, let us say group means GE group. So here the assumption is the GE group of companies have purchased the SAP software from SAP company. Now it wants to use in its business. So we are going to configure as a FI consultant, we are going to configure this FICO software to the GE group of companies. Now, under the GE group, you have some number of individual companies like GE Infotech Incorporation, GE Paper Mills Incorporation, GE Real Estate Incorporation, GE Technologies Incorporation. Like that, a GE group may have any number of individual companies. Now, this GE Infotech Incorporation is carrying on business in Washington, California. Then GE Paper Mills Inc. Incorporation is also carrying on business in Washington, New York, New Jersey, California, etc. So this is the real enterprise structure for GE group of companies for the purpose of preparing financial statements. Now you have to translate this enterprise structure into SAP. So group is always called company in SAP. Group is always called company in SAP. And these individual companies are called company codes in SAP. Then the geographical areas in which the company codes are carrying on business are called business areas. So here company code and business areas are called organizational units in financial accounting. So as a starting point of configuration, the FI consultant has to create a company code and business area. So what is the meaning of the company now? As I said, company always represents group. So at the company level, we can prepare the consolidated financial statements. Consolidated financial statements means some of the financial statements of GE Infotech Incorporation and GE Paper Mills Incorporation. That is called consolidated financial statements. So the definition of company is purely optional. Definition means creation. In the normal terminology, we call it as creation, but in SAP terminology, that is called definition. So the definition of company is purely optional because here, please remember one point. If any reporting is legally required, that is mandatory. But if any reporting is required according to will and wish of the management, then that is called optional. So in any country, there is no any legal requirement that we have to prepare and present the financial statements at the group level. It's not legally required. But if the group management wants to know the consolidated financial status, then only we have to create a company. That is the meaning of the company. So for each object, here company is called one object. Means at the time of creating company, we have to give one identification. So that identification can contain up to 6 characters, and it is alphanumeric. So alphanumeric means we can use numbers, characters, and combination of both. and a company can have any number of company codes. Logically speaking, company represents group. Group can have any number of individual companies. Individual companies means company codes. So that is the meaning of the company. So here, mapping the enterprise structure into SAP means creating the organization units of your client company in SAP. That is called mapping the client enterprise structure into SAP. So that is the meaning of the company. So I explained this company, right? Then this explanation is documented in your notes. Company. I have written this explanation in your notes. Company represents the group. It contains up to 6 characters. It is alphanumeric. The definition of company is optional. A company can have any number of company codes. So that's how every concept. First, I will explain with the help of the presentation. Then after that, that explanation is documented here in the notes. Now you have to create the company. So for that, first we have to log into SAP. See here, some of you I have provided SAP access, right? Others did not mail me whether I don't know whether they have installed SAP GUI or not, right? So if you have installed SAP GUI, please mail me. I will send you your username and password today. Okay. So we have to log into SAP servers now. For that, double click on SAP logon icon, and this is the server we require. Select the server, click on login button, and client is 800. User is I am entering my user ID Lakshman, and I am entering my password. Then English logon language English. So click on enter. After entering all this information, you just click on enter. Now you have logged into SAP. Okay. Now, in order to create the company, we have to access one screen. So for that screen, I have given the path here, and this is the transaction code. So you can use either path or transaction code. You can use either path or transaction code. Now, here we are going to cover the consultant training and the end user training in our classes. So as a consultant, first we develop some settings. After settings are developed, we post some transactions as a end user. Then we will see the output, we will see the reports, everything. Now, how do we know which activity we are performing as a consultant and which activity we are performing as an end user? See, I will tell you one rule, right? For any screen, if the path starts with the SPRO, for any screen, if the path starts with SPRO, then you can take it granted that that is the job of the consultant. Because SPRO is the transaction code for IMG screen. And yesterday I told you that IMG screen is completely used by consultants. I hope it's clear. So for any screen, if the path starts with the SPRO, that is the job of the consultant. And if the path starts with something else other than SPRO, that is the job of the end user. That's how we can remember, right? Now, so SPRO is the transaction code for IMG screen. Okay. So the transaction code is always to be entered in the command area of SAP Easy Access. And we are in SAP Easy Access only. And this is the command area. So here you just enter SPRO, then click on enter. So SPRO always implies clicking on SAP reference IMG also. This is SAP reference IMG. Click on this. Now you have logged into IMG screen. After SPRO, we have enterprise structure. So this is called enterprise structure folder. You just click on this. Then that is opened into subfolders. Now, after enterprise structure, we have definition. This is the definition subfolder. Click on this. So after definition, if you see the material, financial accounting is there. So this is the financial accounting subfolder. Click on this. So after financial accounting, we have defined company, right? So this is defined company. So against the defined company, you are noticing one clock like symbol, right? This clock like symbol is called execute symbol. So whenever you notice the clock like symbol, after that there is no path. You have to click on that clock like symbol. So define company. Now, already some companies were created in this system by some other students, already old students. Now we are going to create a new company. So in our class, I am going to take you throughout the total accounting process in SAP. Then at the end of FI, I will show you the balance sheet and P&L account. So here we are going to create a new company. For that purpose, if you see the material, click on new entries. This is called new entries button. Now, in order to create the company, we need to provide some information here. And these fields I have typed in your material. These fields I have typed in material, right? So every day in the class, you have to write something against these fields, right? So for the company, we have to give an identification, right? That identification can be anything. Means it is also alphanumeric. So company name is equal to 3366 LG. See, you have to write it now in your material. Company is equal to 3366 LG. It is the identification for the company. Company is equal to 3366 LG. You have to write it in the material now. Company name is equal to LG group of companies. You have to write it like this now. Company name is equal to LG group of companies. Now, city is equal to, yes, these are the financial statements, right? That is P&L account and balance sheet. So these financial statements are to be submitted to register of companies. In India, I'm talking register of companies. Then stock exchange boards, because if you are a listed member in the stock exchange, you have to submit your financial statements to the stock exchange. And if you have taken any term loans, you have to submit the financial statements to the banks and income tax authorities, your sales tax authorities, etc., etc. And these financial statements, yes, P&L account and balance sheet and other statements, right? Notes to the balance sheet is also there. Okay. So these two statements are to be submitted to these legal authorities. Okay. And in India, we prepare the financial statements according to Schedule 6 of Companies Act 1956. And the recent Companies Act is 2013. Okay. Now, clear, Anil? So city is equal to Washington. Please write down the material. City is equal to Washington. Means the GE group of companies headquarters are situated in the Washington city. Country is equal to US. Means the group is basically operating from USA. So we have to give the identification for the country. If the group is basically operating from India, then we have to enter the identification for India. If the group is operating from Denmark, you have to enter the identification for Denmark. If the group is operating from Germany, we have to enter the identification for Germany. So how do we know the identifications for the countries? Look at the screen, please. Here, if you click on this button, the system will display the list of countries. So you can see here 235 entries found. Means 235 countries were defined in the system. And it's not necessary to remember the identifications for the countries, right? So from the list, you can see the you can take the identification. Suppose if the group is basically operating from Bangladesh, we have to enter the identification for PD. If the group is operating from Switzerland, you have to enter the CH. If the group is operating from China, CN. Denmark, DK. Great Britain, GB. So India IN, Malaysia MY, then United States US. Like that, from the list, you can find the identification for the respective countries. Suppose, if you don't find the country you require in the system, you can create your own country. But how to create your own country, we will discuss later on because this is the first class only, right? That's what I'm telling Sunil, right? So if you don't find the country, you can define our own countries. But how to define our own countries, we will cover after some classes. Okay. But in most of the cases, almost all the countries have been defined in the system. So you can press on this F4, sorry, this button. Otherwise, just to keep the cursor and press F4 function key. And the same list of countries are also available in the real-time software also. And it's not necessary to remember the identifications for the countries. So country is equal to US within brackets F4, within brackets F4. Language is equal to EN, EN for English. Language is equal to English. Then suppose, let us assume that we are going to configure for a company in Japan. Let us assume that that Japanese company wants to use Japanese language only. In that case, we have to enter the identification for Japanese language. So if you press on F4, you can see again the languages. 41 entries found. In the first class of navigation, I said the SAP software was developed in 41 international languages. So these are the 41 international languages. So if you want to use Japanese language, you have to enter JA. If you want to use Korean language, KO. If you want to use Malaysian language, you have to enter MS. Please remember, we cannot define our own languages. We cannot define our own languages. We can define our own countries, but not languages. But generally, in most of the cases, because now we are very much international, so generally we use English. Language is equal to N. I hope everybody is writing in the material because this is necessary for you to do the practice. These are your exercises every day. Currency is equal to USD. Currency is equal to USD. So here we have to enter the currency of the respective countries. Suppose, so again, how can we find the currencies of the respective current countries? Again, press F4. So already 218 currencies have been defined in the system. So if from the list you can select. And remember, it's not necessary to remember the list, please. Nobody will ask you what is the currency for any country, right? So it's only a general knowledge question, but not SAP question, right? That's why don't try to remember these list, right? So suppose again, if you don't find the currency you require, we can define our own currencies, right? Now, currency is equal to USD. Here in your material, you have some space here, right? Please write down there. We can define, we can define our own countries and currencies. We can define our own countries and currencies. But we cannot define, but we cannot define our own languages. We cannot define our own languages. Okay? Just 1 second. Yes. 1 second, please. Yes. So after entering all this information and see the material, click on save. So this is called save button. You can use Control S also. You can use Control S also. That is operating system shortcuts also we can use. Click on save. Now, after clicking on save, if you see the material, click on create request. So where is the create request icon? This is the first time you are using the software, right? So we don't know which icon is what. In that case, on every icon you see, right, just to keep the cursor for 1 or 2 seconds. Then that the system will display the name of that icon. This is enter icon, and this is display object, and this is object attributes, and this is create request. So like that, for the first time you can find the icons. So once you start doing the practice for 1 or 2 days, then you will be able to remember the icons automatically. Okay, so click on create request. Then short description is equal to, here we have to enter the description of the activity, the description of the project. So short description is equal to FI configuration for LG group of companies. LG group of companies. FI configuration for LG group of companies. Then after that, FI short description is called FI configuration for LG group of companies. After that, click on save. So here again, this is the save button. In the total screen, you can notice only one save button in the highlighted mode. This button is grayed out, right? So this is the highlighted screen save button. Click on save. See, our description has been taken over here, and this is called request number. So this request number has got lot of significance in the real time. So what is this request number? We will discuss again after some classes. This is very, very important, request number. So this we will discuss after some classes. So from now onwards, whenever you get this small request box, just click on enter. This is called enter button. Otherwise, you can use the enter button in your keyboard. See, data was saved. I told you, there are three types of messages displayed on the status bar. First one is OK message, which is displayed in green color. So whenever you get this message, you can rest assumed that your setting is correct. If any error is there, the system will show you the error. So like this, every step I have given clearly in the material. So taking this as example, you have to create your own company in the system. That is the exercises. So every day I am going to show you some settings in the class, and you have to write the settings here. Then taking these as examples, you have to create the same settings in the system. So every day there is an exercise, and you have to do these exercises every day. This is called practicing the server. Then only you get the clarity. At the end of the class, today, I will tell you one procedure how to do the practice, right? You just follow that practice, you get a very good clarity of the subject. So that's how we have created company. Now, if you see the step number 1.2, define company code. Define company code. So what is the company code here? First, let us try to understand. See, here the company code, every separate legal entity is called company code, or the individual company is called company code in SAP. Suppose if you take US context, every LLC, INC and OPC. LLC means limited liability company, OPC means one person company, INC means incorporation. So INC, OPC, LLC, they are called company codes in US context. Then if you take India, every limited company and private limited company is called company code. Suppose for example, GE Infotech Incorporation is one company code. GE Paper Mills Incorporation is one company code. GE Technologies Incorporation, one company code. GE Trading LLC, one company code. Now, if you take India, you have the Tata Group, right? So, Tata Group is called company. Then, Tata Steels Limited is one company code. Tata Consultancy Services Limited, one company code. Tata Power Limited, one company code. Tata Tele Limited, one company code. Suppose you take Reliance. Reliance is a group, right? So Reliance Industries Limited is a company code. Reliance Power Limited is a company code. Reliance Geo Limited is a company code. Like that, every separate individual company is created as company code in SAP. Okay. Then at the time of creating the company code, we have to give an identification. Then the company code identification can contain up to 4 characters. It is alphanumeric. Generally, in SAP, every object identification can contain up to 4 characters, generally. That's why I am not going to repeat these two sentences from now onwards. Every object can contain up to 4 characters and it is alphanumeric. So these two sentences I am not going to repeat again, right, in every class. Okay. Now, here it is mandatory to define company code. So from now onwards, every setting is going to be done with reference to company code. So why it is mandatory to define company code? Because in every country, it is legally required to prepare and present the financial statements at the company code level to the government of that country. It is legal requirement. So whenever any reporting is legally required, that is called mandatory. And we can define any number of company codes. There is no any limit because a group can have any number of individual companies, means we can define any number of company codes. I hope it's clear. So again, this is documented in your notes. See, company code. It is the organizational unit in financial accounting for which a complete set of books of accounts are maintained for external legal reporting, that is, to prepare the legal financial statements. It is 4 characters ID and it is alphanumeric. And you write one more point here in the notes. Please add one more point. If you don't have the notes with you in the physical form, you can write here. You have one space, some space here, no? You have some space here, no? You can write it here. If the boundaries of a particular country is crossed, if the boundaries of a particular country are crossed, then we have to create a company code. Then we have to create one company code. We have to create one company code. Means what? Suppose, for example, LG group of companies, right? So basically, it is carrying on business in USA. Okay. Now, it wants to carry on business in India. So if you want to carry on business in India, being in US, you cannot go to India just like that, and you cannot start business just like that. First of all, we have to register ourselves under the Indian Companies Act. Means you have to take the permission from the Indian government, for which you have to submit number of documents. That is called registering under Indian Companies Act. So when you register yourself under the Indian Companies Act, it becomes a separate legal entity. So a separate legal entity means company code. Now again you want to carry on business in UK. So first you have to register yourself under the UK Companies Act. Means when you get yourself registered under the UK Companies Act, it becomes a separate legal entity. So separate legal entity means company code. So for every business in a separate country, you have to maintain one company code. It's a rule, you can take it granted. That is how in the real time we can decide how many number of company codes you have to create. So every separate legal entity is to be created as company code, and also if they are carrying on business outside the home country, then also for that entity we have to create one company code. That's how we can decide in the real time how many number of company codes we have to create. Now, in order to create the company code, we need to access one screen, and for that screen, path is starting with SPRO. So it is also consultant activity. So SPRO is the transaction code for IMG screen, and the SPRO is to be entered in the command area of SAP Easy Access. So is this SPRO screen? Sorry, is this SAP Easy Access screen? No. So even if you enter SPRO, it will not work. See, nothing is happening. So that's why you have to prefix /n. So /n SPRO. So instead of thinking this much logic every time, right? You just to prefix /n for every transaction code, as simple as that. You just to prefix /n for each transaction code. And SPRO always implies clicking on SAP reference IMG also. Then after SPRO, you have enterprise structure again. This is called enterprise structure. After enterprise structure, you have definition. This is called definition. So after definition, financial accounting is there. So this is financial accounting subfolder. Click on this. Then after this, edit, copy, delete, check company code. This is called edit, copy, delete, check company code. Sorry, this one. Then if you see the material, double click on edit company code data. Yeah, we can see the transaction codes, Chandrasekhar. I will show you everything one by one, right? It is also covered, right? For that, you have to refer to the table. What is the table? First, we cover the tables. No problem. First, we cover the tables because you have to understand what is the meaning of the table in SAP. So, once you understand the table, then we will see the transaction codes. And there are some other ways to find the transaction codes also. Now, if you see the material, double click on company code data OX02. Need not say sorry, Chandrasekhar. You have every right to ask the questions. No issues about it. So double click on edit company code data. This is called edit company code data. Then after that, click on new entries. See, in such a way, clear manner, right? I have given every step in the material. Click on new entries. Now for the company code, we have to give an identification. Let us say 3366. Please write down in the material against the company code 3366. Company name is equal to LG Electronics INC. Company name is equal to LG Electronic INC. City is equal to New York. City is equal to New York. Country is equal to US. Country is equal to US. Currency, see, look at the screen. In the currency field, you have one tick mark, right? So whenever you notice any tick mark in any field, that is called mandatory field. That is called mandatory field. So currency is equal to USD. Suppose if you don't enter the information in that field, you cannot create that object. So currency is equal to USD. Language is equal to EN. Language is equal to EN. Then what is there in the material? Click on save. click on save, right? This is called again save button. So when you click on save, right, the system will take you another big screen. So in this screen, we enter all the other details of the company code. So first let us do according to the material. Title is equal to company. If you see the material, right, title is equal to company. Here, look at the screen. This is called drop down menu. So if you click on this drop down menu, you can see the titles. Title is equal to company. Then country is equal to US. Then what are the other fields? Here you can enter the name of the company code. Suppose if the name of the company code is larger than the length of the company code name we have entered in the previous screen, you can enter the total company code name here. Then suppose if the name of the company code is larger than the length of these two lines, then what happens? Here, this is called more fields button. So on any icon, if you keep the cursor for 1 or 2 seconds, it will tell you the name of the icon, right? So if you click on this more fields button, system will add 2 more lines. So generally no company code will have the name larger than the length of these 4 lines. Let us assume still the company code name is larger than the length of these 4 lines. In that case, what we do is only ABAP consultant can add the lines in the screen. Only the ABAP consultants can add the fields in the screens. So they can add it. We can send one request to him, he can add it. But generally that is not at all required. So once we enter the information here, if you click on this is called end more fields. End more fields, right? Click on this, that is closed. Then here, street address. You can enter the street name, house number, postal code, city. So here you can enter the address of the office of the company code. We can enter the office, the address of the registered office of the company code. Yeah, because see the question posted by Gadi. Here in the while he is asking here country is mandatory. Why not in the previous screen? Good observation. See, I will tell you. Company code creation is mandatory, right? Right? But the company creation is optional. That's why it is not mandatory there. Got it, Gadi? Yeah. Now, so here in the address street address screen, we can enter the total address of the company code, registered office of the company code. Suppose generally the address will be larger than the length of these columns, right? In that case, again you click on this more fields button. See, here you can enter the total address of the company code. So once we enter the address of the company code, you can close it. Now here you can enter PO box number, post box number, post box code, postal code, then company postal code. After that, the communication information of your company code can be entered here. Telephone number, extension, mobile phone, fax number, extension, email address, standard communication method, and comments. So like that, all this information we can enter here. So in the comments column, we can maintain the nature of the business of the company code, right? So like that, in the real time, we can maintain all this information. But here we don't have this information. That's why I am not entering in this information. In the real time, who will give you all this information? The accounts department of the company code will provide all the information you require as a consultant. So we take that information from the accounts department and we provide that information in this screen. Now, whatever the information you enter in this screen, in this big screen, is printed by the system on the correspondence documents of your company code and all the official documents of your company code. For example, your letterheads, right? Then purchase orders, account statements, So on all the official documents of the company code, the system will print this address. Clear? So after entering all this information, if you see the material, enter. Click on enter, right? So click on enter. So whenever you get this request box, you just click on enter. You can use your keyboard enter button also. See, data was saved. So we have created company code. Suppose you have to create one more company code under the same group. In that case, this is called next entry button. So if you click on next entry button, right, every field becomes empty. Then again, for that company code, you have to give one more identification. One identification can be used only once in the system. You cannot use the same identification more than once. If you try to use the same identification, the system will give you error message. So you need not worry. Okay. You do one thing. Write down this point here in the material itself. To create one more company code, to create another company code, to create another company code, to create another company code, click on next entry button. Click on next entry button. Click on next entry button. Now, write one more point here. The company currency, the company currency and the company code currency can be different. The company currency and the company code currency can be different. Means, suppose your group is in US, so company currency is USD, and you are carrying on business in India. For the Indian company code currency will be INR. It's quite natural, right? So company currency and company code currency can be different. So this is the thing regarding company code, right? And one more thing here is, you have given the country US, right? So what is the impact of this country US? Whatever the country you enter in this country field is called home country of the company code. And the system considers every other country as foreign country. Then currency. The currency entered in this field is called company code local currency. And every other currency is considered by the system as foreign currency. And we have to prepare the financial statements in the company code local currency only. Logically think, you are doing business in US, so you have to prepare your P&L account and balance sheet in US dollars only. And you are doing business in India, you have to prepare the financial statements in Indian rupees only, right? That's why the currency entered in this field is called company code local currency. So in this currency only, we prepare the financial statements. Then language. This language, we have entered English language, right? So the language, in this language, the books of accounts are maintained. Your correspondence documents are printed. And your bank checks are printed when you're giving the check to vendors, right? So like that, this is the significance of these three fields. Don't worry, these I have given in your notes again. See, country. The information given in this field is called the home country of the company code, and every other country is considered by the system as foreign country. Then currency. The currency entered in this field is called company code local currency. Every other currency is treated by the system as foreign currency, and this information is used by the system in identifying the foreign currency. The financial statements are prepared in the company code local currency. Like that, every field I have given very clearly. So you can go through the notes. Now, see the step number 1.3. Assign company code to company. Means what? Assigning means what? Here we have created company in separate screen and company code in separate screen. We know LG Electronics Incorporation is part of LG Group, but how the system relates. That's why we have to provide the link between company and company code. One second. Yes. See, you know that LG Electronics Incorporation is part of LG Group. We know, but how the system knows? That's why within the software, you have to provide the link between company and company code. This is called assignment, right? Please put heading in the notes. You also have to keep the notes with you in every class. Put heading in the notes. Assignment. Assignment. Providing the links between the two objects, between the two objects in the software is called assignment. Providing the links between the two objects in the software is called assignment. So object means nothing. Company code is called one object and company is called one object, nothing else, right? So we have to provide the link between company and company code. That is the next step. Assign company code to company. Path is SPRO, means slash n SPRO. Enterprise structure. After that, we have assignment, then financial accounting, then assign company code to company. So this is the company code field, right? So our company code will be there somewhere in the list, right? So you have to click on position button. See, click on position. This is called position button. So this position button is very similar to search button, nothing else. So click on position, company code. What is our company code? 3366. So company code is equal to 3366. Click on enter. See here, our company code 3366 has been taken in the first line. So against this line, you have the company, right? So company is equal to 3366 LG. So you have linked company code with the company. Click on save. So whenever you get this request box, just click on it. This is how in today's class we have completed company, company code, and we have assigned company code to company. Now whoever have got the server access, they can also start the practice. And others, please install the SAP GUI as soon as possible, and please give me mail. I will send you the user ID and password. Okay. Then now you can start the practice. For doing the practicing means here, for example, today we have created a company. So you also have to create one company in the system. So here we can use any name or anything. We can use even you can use your name also, right? So you create one company, you create company code, then you assign company code to company. That is the exercises for today's class. Now, Here I will give you one procedure just to try to follow the procedure. It's very, very simple. So first you create one company, right? Then you create company code. Then you assign company code to company. Okay. Now again, you create one more company with a different name. But before creating second company, right, read the notes. What is the meaning of the company? Why we have to create a company? Try to understand the notes. Then you create second company. Okay. Then after that, you create second company code. So before creating second company code, again read the notes. So what is the meaning of the company code and what is the use of the company code? Then in the company code, we are giving some information, right? Currency, country, etc. So what is the significance of these fields? Read the notes, try to understand, then create the second company code. So like that, you create two sets. Create one company code, and assign the first company to first company code. Create one more company code, and we assign second company code to the second company. So every day, so we always develop the configuration settings at the company code level for the company code only. So every class settings you do in two company codes. But doing the settings in the second company code, read the notes, listen to the recording if necessary, right? Then you do the settings in the second company code. If you do the practice like this, you get very excellent clarity of the subject. In SAP, how is not important. How to create a company code is not important. I'm talking about from the entry point of view. How to create a company code is not important. Why we have to create a company code? That is important from the entry point of view. So that's why first in our class, I'm explaining why concept. Then I'm showing you how concept in the screen. So if you proceed like this, if you follow the procedure like this, you get excellent clarity of the subject. Then at the end of the classes, I will send you the interview questions, right? And other material necessary for you to get the job, right? Within 2-3 months. I will send you a lot of documentation also, real-time documentation. In the projects, we have to prepare a lot of documentation. So what is the documentation, how they look like? So all these materials I will be sending to you. Okay. But the thing is, and it's only advice, right? Don't take it in a wrong way. It's only advice I'm giving you. And one more thing here is, you require, see, if you want to get the job, right, in SAP, you have to do two things. One is, please attend the classes regularly. Even though I'm sending the recordings, right, listening to the live class is very effective, right? So attend the class regularly. Of course, sometimes you may have some work, right? In that case, taking the leave is inevitable. In that case, take the leave. But anyhow, I will be sending the recording now. So immediately go to the recording and get the on par with the class. Now, first one is attending the class regularly is important. Then the second one is you have to do the practice of every class on the same day itself, right? So if you follow these two things, right, theoretically also you get good knowledge and practically also you get good knowledge. Then you get the job within 2-3 months of the completion of the classes. Why I'm telling you 2-3 months? Because you have to prepare some other materials. You have to prepare some other interview questions, which I will send you. Don't worry about it, right? That is how you have to proceed in the class. Sorry, that is how you have to proceed in the practice. So remaining things we will see tomorrow. See, our classes are Monday to Friday, USA days, but it is from Tuesday to Saturday in India. If you are in India, our classes are from Tuesday to Saturday. If you are in US, classes are from Monday to Friday. So tomorrow also we have the class. Then Akil, you have any questions? Akila, sorry. Akila, you have any questions?
No, sir, I'm good.
Okay. Anil, I will come to you, Gadi. I will be coming one by one, right? Whenever I come to you, you can ask the question. I will come according to the alphabetical names in the list. Anil, you have any questions? Okay. Chandrasekhar. Okay. Now Gadi, tell me. While defining company code currency, language and country required. So why can't we make it mandatory? No, we cannot make it as mandate as a functional consultant. It is designed in the software itself, right? Some fields we can make it mandatory somewhere, right? But not in the company code creation. We cannot make the country and the current country and language. We cannot make them mandatory. It is designed defaultly in the software. You cannot change the software code. Roni, you have any questions? Yes, yes. All these things I will send. I will be sending to you, right? So if you want to learn simple finance, you have to continue in this class. After FSCO only, you can understand simple finance. And this is my mail ID, right? I'm typing the mail ID in the chat box. Please give me the test mail. I will send you all the material and recordings till now. Okay. My mail ID is I have typed in the chat box. Just look at the chat box, Roni. Yeah, FSM is a financial supply chain management. It's a separate module like FICO. Srinivas, FSCM stands for financial supply chain management. Srinivas, you have
No,
any
sir.
questions?
No, sir.
Okay. Sunil, 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 are you there? Tafiq, any questions? Okay then. Okay. Sorry. See you tomorrow, same time. Good night and good day.